In Pipes Ready, we talked about how to make a chanter reed easier by massaging or squeezing the blades, by putting on an elastic bridle, and by shaving the reed down the sides or across the middle. It's important to know that these alterations to a reed can affect the tuning. Squeezing the blades of a reed will sharpen the whole reed a bit, especially the top hand. The same with adding an elastic band bridle. So if you do one of these two things to a reed, expect that you may have to retune your drones to a higher pitch and retune some notes on your chanter which may have become sharper. This may require adding tape to certain notes, especially on the top hand. Remember too that a reed will bounce back from squeezing pretty close to its former strength in 5 or 10 minutes. With a rubber band bridle, it won't. A bridle is like a permanent squeeze on the reed. Let's talk about sanding or shaving and the way it can affect your tuning. Remember from Pipes Ready that you can shave or sand a reed in a number of areas to make it easier. Shaving down the sides in this area is perhaps the best way to ease up a reed. This won't usually affect your tuning. Some players may shave the sides just in this area. This will also have minimal effect on the tuning. Others will shave right across the whole bottom of the reed, like this. Another area where you can take off a small amount of cane is right across the midsection of the reed here. However, once you start adjusting the upper section of the reed, you affect the tuning. Any work in this upper section will flatten certain notes of the scale, particularly from D up. As you work your way up the reed, you will flatten notes higher on the chanter. Shaving the middle section here can especially flatten the D, the E, and the F. You may wish to try this if you have holes that are nearly half covered in tape. As you get to the top of the reed, you will flatten the F, high G, and high A. For example, if you get too much tape on the high G, sometimes you'll get a chirp or a squeak when you play a G grace note on low A. Try sanding the upper portion of the reed almost to the tips. Use a light 220 grit paper or higher. How much this will affect those notes is anybody's guess at the time, and sometimes you'll find that sanding makes a reed easier without affecting the tuning. Other times, you may try to sand or shave a reed to make it easier, but discover you've flattened the D or the F so much that you have to discard the reed. This is not unusual. You should always make sure you've played a reed for 1 or 2 practice sessions before you do any sanding to alter tuning. Other top hand notes might flatten themselves up as the reed picks up moisture and changes temperature over the course of a couple of days. You'll soon learn how your make of reed responds to a few days playing. There's not much you can do to sharpen individual notes of the scale, but if you have a reed that is flat in general, especially on the top hand, there is one major alteration you can make. Take a very sharp chisel or blade, or even a pair of precise end nippers, and cut a small sliver of cane right off the end of both blades, like this. Like a guitar string, shortening the reed will sharpen up its entire pitch. It will also make the reed harder to blow, and you may have to do some more sanding or scraping after you've done this. One other shaving and tuning point to make. Sometimes you'll have a reed with a very rough, raspy high A, what we call a crowing high A, like this. This can be fixed using some very light sandpaper, 320 grit or even higher. Very gently give the tips of the blades a couple of strokes across the sandpaper on an angle, like this. Do this very lightly, hardly any pressure, until your crow starts to lighten up. One final word about sanding and shaving. Always work patiently and in small increments. Remember, once the cane is off, you can't put it back on.